We do have a flash flood warning that just popped up here.
The hand retally, that's done. This is going to a recount, and the taxpayers will foot the bill for a third time.
Morning news should be both informative and fun.
Gone are the days where we're speaking at you. On Morning Rush, we're speaking with you.
So connect with us. Talk to us.
Think of it as a conversation.
Morning Rush weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
Quick, open your phone camera right now, aim it at the screen to download 11 Alive's new and improved app. This QR code will take you to the App Store or Google Play. One simple tap gives you enhanced radar, street-level zoom, and severe weather alerts. It's just that easy.
As COVID-19 continues to impact our state, the need for food is bigger than ever.
In fact, 1 in 4 kids in Metro Atlanta live in a home that lacks access to adequate food.
But here's how we can take action to help.
The next time you're shopping, grab some extra canned goods.
And drop them off at 11 Alive's Canathon with contactless drop-off December 4th.
Or visit 11alive.com/canathon for 3 easy digital ways to give.
11 Alive's annual Canathon. With your help, we can stamp out hunger in Atlanta.
Morning news should be informative and fun.
Yeah, and we do that here on Morning Rush with Verify, Connect the Dots, Why Guy, and more.
We love learning about new things and sharing them with you.
We make the news make sense.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
The Negro people had to leave. They were told to get out.
White only, no black!
1912, all but one issue has been erased.
We haven't had none up here since the 1st of the century.
What's the importance of making sure this history isn't erased?
So that it doesn't happen again.
Is your morning routine feeling a little routine?
Then mix it up
Morning Rush is different.
It's the fast-paced news you need.
with all the energy of your morning coffee.
Come see the difference on Morning Rush weekdays on 11 Alive.
Weather can't run from the all-new 11 Alive Thunder Truck, a mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Ram.
Here in Atlanta, bad weather means bad traffic. A few drops of rain could destroy a commute. But that's where my man Crash Clark comes in. I go street level, he goes next level. Together, we make sure you get to work on time. Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive. Hey, quick, open up your phone camera right now. Aim it at the screen to download 11 Alive's new and improved app. This QR code will take you right to the App Store or Google Play. One simple tap gives you enhanced radar.
We have all the momentum. We have all the energy.
It's about the future direction of our country.
It's jobs, it's opportunities, it's affordable health care.
I think Georgians heard our message and they responded, and I'm deeply grateful.
Good morning, everyone. On this Sunday, I'm Jeff Hullinger. In 30 days, Georgians will send 2 U.S. senators to Washington. And if the next month is anything like the last 48 hours, what a wild ride it is going to continue to be. Here's what's on tap tonight. The Atlanta Press Club hosting 2 debates. Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler and the Democrat challenger, the Reverend Raphael Warnock, will face off at 7 o'clock this evening. As for the other race, both Republican Senator David Perdue and the Democrat Jon Ossoff were invited. Only Mr. Ossoff has confirmed that he will be there. If Senator Perdue is not there, Jon Ossoff will take questions all by himself. Senator Perdue was in Valdosta last night, along with Senator Loeffler, getting a campaign boost from President Trump, who had a lot to say about the Georgia election, past and present. Rebecca Lindstrom is live this morning for us at the state capitol this morning with all the details. Rebecca?
Good morning. President Trump spoke for about an hour and 40 minutes during his visit to Valdosta. Now, Senators Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue did make appearance in about the middle of his speech, vowing to stay strong for President Trump. Now, their comments, though, highlight the 2 very different themes of the event. Of course, President Trump was in town trying to impress upon voters the importance of turning out to vote in the Senate runoff. But it also was to put pressure on state lawmakers to overturn President-elect Joe Biden's victory.
Got to make sure your Secretary of State knows what the hell he's doing. And you got to make sure your governor gets a lot tougher than he's been. He's got to get a lot tougher. Because at stake in this election is control of the U.S. Senate, and that really means control of this country. The voters of Georgia will determine which party runs every committee, writes every piece of legislation, controls every single taxpayer dollar.
The president's frustrations have really played out on Twitter. Despite 2 recounts, he wants a signature check on all votes. Governor Kemp says he has asked for that check several times, leaving the president to question why the Secretary of State has said no. There are also reports the president wants the governor to call lawmakers back for a special session to come up with a way to alter how the state's representatives will vote in the Electoral College. So far, Governor Kemp has not signaled any support for that idea. He was not there at the event in Valdosta. Originally, the campaign saying that he was taking care of a family emergency. Later in the evening, the governor did send out a statement clarifying that his family was mourning the loss of 20-year-old Harrison Deal, a staffer in the Loeffler campaign. Jeff?
Rebecca Lindstrom from downtown Atlanta this morning. Rebecca, thank you. Vice President Mike Pence has refrained from going after specific Republicans in Georgia. Instead, he focused his Friday appearance in Savannah on convincing Republicans to go out and vote. He said staying home out of protest means the Democrats win. Some national strategists and pundits have questioned the decision to have Senators Loeffler and Senator Perdue campaign so much together, almost as though they were a ticket. I asked Jason Thompson, who represents Georgia in the Republican National Committee, why the senators are going that route.
It helps logistically and with volunteers, and that's really why it was done. So it's a team effort for the volunteers, for the staff, for you know, the people that call me from all over the United States that want to help. I direct them to certain people that are basically on one team all together for this cause.
There are times when the Democratic Party challengers are tied together. Friday, former President Obama rallied state Democrats behind John Ossoff and the Reverend Raphael Warnock.
These are the kinds of gentlemen who are going to be able to create an atmosphere of cooperation, of progress, and most of all, keeping the concerns of the American people and the people of Georgia first.
Voters want to know as much about the candidates as possible before they go to the polls. 11 Alive has reached out to both senators and their challengers, asking for one-on-one interviews before January 5th. So far, John Ossoff is the only one to sit down with us. He spoke with 11 Alive Reveal investigator Andy Parati, who began by asking the candidate about his lack of governing experience.
Why not get your feet wet doing local politics for city council, state house? Why run for this office?
Well, I think that when folks look at what's wrong with Washington right now and the total lack of compromise and the lack of accountability to the people and the lack of new and fresh ideas, the last thing anybody says is that there's too many young people in power.
Before jumping into politics, Ossoff grew up in the North Lake community outside of Atlanta. His mom, an Australian immigrant turned U.S. citizen. His dad, from Boston, runs a publishing company. Ossoff attended Paideia, a private school in Druid Hills, where he met his wife, Alicia, an OBGYN.
She's just my rock and my best friend, and I'm so proud of the work she's doing.
Both attended Georgetown University in D.C. Ossoff then went off to grad school at the London School of Economics. In 2017, he ran for Georgia's 6th congressional district. At the time, it was the most expensive House race in U.S. history.
So this is not the outcome any of us were hoping for.
He lost. You've never held public office before, so we don't know exactly what your governing style is or would be. Can you give us an example in your career where you had to compromise to get something done, even though it exactly wasn't what you wanted originally?
Well, first of all, the work that I do right now, which is focused on investigating and exposing corruption and war crimes and organized crime, involves bringing together teams of people from different backgrounds to cooperate to make sure that the public understands the truth of what's happening in the world.
Ossoff is talking about his company Inside TWI. It produces investigative documentaries overseas, like this one in 2018, which followed a woman formerly enslaved by ISIS in Iraq.
But now she's escaped and wants answers.
His campaign identifies Ossoff as an investigative reporter. He joined the company at 26 years old in 2013 as its CEO, never holding a journalism job before.
Your company supports and produces investigative journalism, but do you have investigative journalism experience?
Yeah, I oversee all aspects of our editorial development. I mean, these are long-term investigative projects. So for example, I will sit down in Kenya with journalists in Kenya who are investigating the assassination of clerics or the abduction of young people in Kenya, help them to develop that story.
If you're elected, what's the first piece of legislation you're writing and filing?
Well, we got to be focused first and foremost on the response to this pandemic. So priority number one is working with the incoming administration to get resources to Georgia's own Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, to our rural hospitals. But I will also be working swiftly to help pass a new Civil Rights Act, to help pass a new Voting Rights Act, to help develop an infrastructure and clean energy program that will help us rebuild this economy and save our planet. All of that will be top priorities.
And we have more of Andy's interview with Jon Ossoff. It is on 11alive.com. Again, we have asked Senator David Perdue for a sit-down interview as well. As we wait for Senator Perdue's response, he continues to crisscross the state before his Saturday night rally in Valdosta with President Trump. He was in Cobb County, and he was joined by Texas Republican Congressman Dan Crenshaw, the senator, returning to a popular Republican theme of what would happen if the Democrats controlled the U.S. Senate.
They want to take our private health insurance away and throw us onto a Medicare system that's already bankrupt. They want to basically turn America into a socialist state, a one-party socialist state. We're not going to let that happen. What we need is for you to stand with us right now. If we win Georgia, guys, we save America.
An exclusive 11 Alive Survey USA poll shows Jon Ossoff with a slight lead over Senator Perdue, 50-48, well within the margin of error of 5.2%. Reverend Warnock has a bigger lead over Senator Loeffler. For a deeper dive into the polls, including breakdowns by race, gender, and age, and what our numbers indicate, you can check out the politics page. That's for you on 11alive.com. Well, that infamous video reigniting claims of voter fraud in Fulton County. Our chief investigator breaking down what is true and what is not. That's ahead.
Here in Atlanta, bad weather means bad traffic. A few drops of rain could destroy a commute. But that's where my man Crash Clark comes in. I go street level, he goes next level. Together, we make sure you get to work on time. Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive. Hey, quick, open up your phone camera right now. Aim it at the screen to download 11 Alive's new and improved app. This QR code will take you right to the App Store or Google Play. One simple tap gives you enhanced radar, street level zoom, and severe weather alerts. It's just that easy.
Journalism that gives you a real voice.
At Morning Rush, that's our commitment each and every day.
And why we're honored to have been recognized for Best Morning Newscast for the second year in a row.
If you haven't yet, check us out. See why we're where Atlanta speaks.
Atlanta roads are my thing. ITP, OTP, Ponce, Piedmont, all the peach trees. Combined with Chesley's street level forecast, that's a lot of tech and experience to help your commute.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
We're quite the combo.
The President of the United States was accusing you of voter fraud.
Oh, I know it, and I knew it wasn't fraud.
Mr. James Blaylock voted in the election, the president's campaign tweeted. The only problem, he passed away 14 years ago. False. James Blaylock did not vote. Mrs. James Blaylock voted. After our investigation, national news outlets owned up to their false claims, and the president's campaign deleted the tweet.
Weather changes can make or break your day. That's why the 11 Alive Storm Trackers are always watching what's coming next, delivering accessible and accurate forecasts that prepare you, not scare you. For Storm Trackers, only on 11 Alive.
COVID-19 is still spreading in Georgia. Now get facts, not fear, at 11alive.com/COVID numbers. Track cases by county using our interactive map and get the latest health department data. Visit 11alive.com/COVID numbers.
A sign of relief across half the nation. The rest feeling devastation.
In Georgia, we can now focus on the 2 Senate races here that are still unresolved.
It's not over yet. You can still make history. The balance of power in Georgia voters' hands, whatever side you take, could determine the nation's fate. Your vote still matters. Stay involved, stay informed with journalism that gives you a real voice.
President Trump's team is pointing to newly released surveillance video from State Farm Arena as evidence of election fraud. Our chief investigator is Brendan Keefe, and he is separating fact from fiction.
Yeah, I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the table.
Supporters of the president are calling it Suitcase Gate.
I'm going to call it a suitcase.
But those are not suitcases. 11 Alive has confirmed they're the standard ballot containers used by Fulton County.
The video shows is that they have pulled out plastic bins from underneath the desks. Those are bins that they keep under their desks near the scanners.
They've investigated this repeatedly, that they had a monitor on site the entire time. And frankly, this has been debunked for weeks by our Secretary of State's office.
I doubt he's seen the video.
Evidence?
Your officials need to watch the video.
They did. The video is not new. State investigators reviewed the State Farm surveillance tapes weeks ago. Gabriel Sterling with the Secretary of State's office tweeted the 90-second video of election workers purporting to show fraud was watched in its entirety by Georgia Secretary of State investigators, shows normal ballot processing.
That the press reported there was, like, a supposed water break or water main break or pipe break or whatever, and that this was an excuse for people clearing out of State Farm Arena.
The water pipe leak and the events on the surveillance video did not happen on the same night. Those 2 events occurred 17 hours apart. How do we know? We were there.
Early this morning, we told there was a water main break above the room I'm standing in here at State Farm Arena.
That live report was hours before the surveillance video of the room clearing. The workers leaving were those who opened the ballot envelopes, and once they were done processing that batch, they went home.
At about 10 o'clock, there was one person working the polls who told everyone in the room to leave.
They began letting certain people go. No announcement was ever made to leave, for anyone to leave.
Was anyone actually told to leave, or just that they were done counting? Republican monitors claim they were forced out.
They were made to leave, so it was done in contravention of the statute.
Both 11 Alive journalists on site that night independently confirmed to me that they were not told to leave, but they were told counting was done for the night.
Fulton County, they were telling us that their absentee ballot vote counting, their workers went home from that this evening. They'll be back around 8:30 in the morning.
And why are they only counting them whenever the place is cleared out with no witnesses?
This part is true. The press and the party monitors were not given notice that counting would continue into the early morning hours, and they should have been. The Secretary of State says one of its monitors was present. The counting of those heavily Democratic absentee ballots did result in a big batch of numbers coming in from Fulton County in the 1 a.m. hour on election night.
And Brendan, we just got a big dump of numbers for DeKalb and Fulton.
So that spike in the numbers led Trump supporters to conclude that Joe Biden took the lead because of it. Brendan Keefe says that simply is not true, that Biden was already leading Fulton County prior to those absentee ballots being counted and did not take the lead in Georgia until days later. All right, let's get back to the Senate races. There is a polarizing group called the Lincoln Project that features Republicans who work to defeat President Trump. They are now working to defeat Senators Loeffler and Perdue. And this week I spoke with Michael Steele. And of course, he is the former RNC chair, now a senior advisor with the Lincoln Project, about those races and also about President Trump. So I am looking at a quote from you from 3 weeks ago where you said the Republican Party needs a political enema. Yeah. Yet, at the same time, 73 million people voted for the president. Republicans did fairly well as far as Congress goes, and by January 5th, they have a chance to retain the Senate. Do you still believe that?
Yes, that doesn't change 1 inch of what I said, and the fact of the matter is you can't overread and certainly don't misread the election results. That was not about an embrace of Republicans under this president. It was about a fear of what Joe Biden being captured by the left, the progressive left, would look like. And that narrative that was played out very well and expertly by Republicans at the end of the campaign had resonance. Fear around defunding police, fear around an overreaching, aggressive government intrusion on any number of issues, from guns to pro-life and choice decisions. The ultimate referendum, though, remains the same. Over 80 million Americans voted for the other guy. And I think that that's something that the party cannot lose sight of. Oh, and by the way, they lost the state of Georgia.
And you identify yourself as a Republican and a conservative still. So why is the Lincoln Project now working to defeat Senators Perdue and Loeffler? Is it the same reason that you fought against the president? Is that essentially lumping the three of them together?
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of it. But at the end of the day, it matters the kind of leaders that we elect to represent us. They are an extension of us. They're an extension of our values and our belief systems. They swear to uphold the Constitution, not strip it down to bare bones or to take advantage of it to their own benefit. And so, when you see something, say something. And a lot of these individuals have remained silent over the past 4 years, and in fact, quite alternatively, embraced a lot of what Donald Trump has been saying. I made the case, or at least I tried, that there's nothing bigger than the Constitution. There's nothing bigger than my country. Not a party, and certainly not one man.
And as you know, President Trump is no fan of the Lincoln Project. He has called them rhino Republicans who failed badly 4 years ago and says they don't know how to win. We'll take a break. We are back with 11 Alive political analyst Dr. Andra Gillespie right after this.
Off December 4th.
Or visit 11alive.com/Canathon for 3 easy digital ways to give.
11 Alive's annual Canathon. With your help, we can stamp out hunger in Atlanta.
Morning news should be informative and fun.
Yeah, and we do that here on Morning Rush with Verify, Connect the Dots, Why Guy, and more.
We love learning about new things and sharing them with you.
We make the news make sense.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
The Negro people had to leave. They were told to get out.
White only, no black!
1912, all but one issue has been erased.
We haven't had none up here since the 1st of the century.
What's the importance of making sure this history isn't erased?
So that it doesn't happen again.
Is your morning routine feeling a little routine?
Then mix it up.
Morning Rush is different.
It's the fast-paced news you need
With all the energy of your morning coffee.
Come see the difference on Morning Rush, weekdays on 11 Alive.
Weather can't run from the all-new 11 Alive Thunder Truck, a mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Ram.
Here in Atlanta, bad weather means bad traffic. A few drops of rain could destroy a commute. But that's where my man Crash Clark comes in. I go street level, he goes next level. Together, we make sure you get to work on time. Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive. Hey, quick, open up your phone camera right now. Aim it at the screen to download 11 Alive's new and improved app. This QR code will take you right to the App Store or Google Play. One simple tap gives you enhanced radar, street level zoom, and severe weather alerts. It's just that easy.
Journalism that gives you a real voice.
At Morning Rush, that's our commitment each and every day.
And why we're honored to have been recognized for Best Morning Newscast for the 2nd year in a row.
If you haven't yet, check us out. See why we're where Atlanta speaks.
Atlanta roads are my thing. ITP, OTP, Ponce, Piedmont.
To analyze the Senate runoff races, we bring in 11 Alive political analysts from Emory University. Dr. Andra Gillespie is with us this morning. Doctor, always good to see you on a Sunday morning. And what do you make of these two runoff races right now? We showed Our polls earlier that show the Democrats with a slight lead, the Real Clear Politics average has both as dead heats right now. What's going to make the difference in the next few weeks? Is it simply those individuals getting out to the polls where that overshadows the issues themselves?
Yes. I mean, this is really all about turnout. And I would characterize both races, even the Warnock-Loeffler race, as being statistically too close to call. And we should expect that. Democrats are buoyed by their win in the presidential election, and they've demonstrated over the last 5 years their ability to find, register, and mobilize new voters. And so that numerical advantage that Republicans enjoyed a decade ago is not the same. And so both sides have to assume that they're roughly equally matched and that they need to do everything they possibly can to get their bases out to vote. And this is going to be a base vote, and it's going to be a highly partisan vote. So I expect that Democrats are going to support their candidates and that Republicans are going to support their candidates, and that there isn't going to be split ticket voting.
Asta, part campaigning for the senators, part complaining, airing of grievances about the election results here. Both Senators Loeffler and Perdue been very loyal to the president. Do you believe that Republican supporters will stay away en masse January 5th in protest, or is that simply a lot of verbiage at this point?
You know, I think that's always been a really interesting empirical question. You know, the only data that we kind of have from that is your own poll, where of the Georgians and of the registered voters in the state, only about 120 voters said that they didn't plan on voting in the runoff election. And so that sample's way too small for us to really glean a lot of information. There could be a lot of variability in the answers that we would need to talk to more voters to know about. But one of the things that was interesting to point out was, one, the people who said that they were boycotting the election was actually very, very small, fewer than 10, I believe, in that sample. And then if we look at the people who thought that the election was rigged, that was still collectively a minority of those who said that they weren't going to vote. So again, huge, huge margins of error there. Don't want to say anything with definitiveness, but I think that a lot of that discussion about rigged elections is a lot of noise. You know, unfortunately, on the back end, if it turns out that Senators Loeffler and Perdue lose, they're always going to think of the woulda, coulda, shoulda, and wonder whether or not some of those people could have in fact been mobilized. So I think ultimately at the end of the day, it's not the rallies or the kinds of recriminations that are going out there, which are certainly a distraction, but it's whether or not the Republican Party and these candidates are actually making sure that they have superlative field operations that are reminding voters to go out to vote, helping them get to the polls and vote early, even helping people vote by mail if that's what they choose to do. Dr.
Andra Gillespie, always great to have you with us. Thanks.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break right now. We'll come back with more after
this. Negro people had to leave. They were told to get out.
White only, no black!
1912, all but one issue has been erased.
We haven't had none up here since the first of the century.
What's the importance of making sure this history isn't erased?
So that it doesn't happen again.
Is your morning routine feeling a little routine?
Then mix it up.
Morning Rush is different.
It's the fast-paced news you need
with all the energy of your morning coffee.
Come see the difference on Morning Rush, weekdays on 11 Alive.
Weather can't run from the all-new 11 Alive Thunder Truck, a mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Ram.
Here in Atlanta, bad weather means bad traffic. A few drops of rain could destroy a commute. But that's where my man Crash Clark comes in. I go street level, he goes next level. Together, we make sure you get to work on time. Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive. Hey, quick, open up your phone camera right now. Aim it at the screen to download 11 Alive's new and improved app. This QR code will take you right to the App Store or Google Play. One simple tap gives you enhanced radar, street-level zoom, and severe weather alerts. It's just that easy.
Journalism that gives you a real voice.
At Morning Rush, that's our commitment each and every day.
And why we're honored to have been recognized for Best Morning Newscast for the second year in a row.
If you haven't yet, check us out. See why we're where Atlanta speaks.
Atlanta roads are my thing. ITP, OTP, Ponce, Piedmont, all the peach trees. Combined with Chesley's street level forecast, that's a lot of tech and experience to help your commute.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11 Alive.
We're quite the combo.
The president of
And a reminder that you will find much more on election 2020 on our website, 11alive.com. Our 11 Alive political team working 24/7 to bring you the very latest results, reaction, as well as perspective on these new developments. And stay tuned to 11 Alive for more coverage of the Senate debates on the news at 6 and on Up Late. Thanks for being with us on this Sunday morning. I'm Jeff Hollinger. Have a great day.
Delivering accessible and accurate forecasts that prepare you, not scare you. For Storm Trackers, only on 11 Alive.
COVID-19 is still spreading in Georgia. Now get facts, not fear, at 11alive.com/COVID numbers. Track cases by county using our interactive map and get the latest health department data. Visit 11alive.com/COVID numbers.
A sign of relief across half the nation. The rest feeling devastation.
In Georgia, we can now focus on the 2 Senate races here that are still unresolved.
It's not over yet. You can still make history. The balance of power in Georgia voters' hands, whatever side you take, could determine the nation's fate. Your vote still matters. Stay involved, stay informed with journalism that gives